ગૂગલ મીટ માટેનું ઈમેલ આઈડી છે ને ચેન્જ કરવાનું છે.
ગૂગલ મીટ માટેનું એટલે?
આ જે ઈમેલ એડ્રેસમાં આમાં જે આવે ને
તું મને
તમારું
ફોન
રિમાઈન્ડર
કર ને
એ
પછી.
ઈમેલ એડ્રેસ ચેન્જ કરવાનું. હા
તું
ઈમેલ
મને
એડ્રેસ
ફોન કર
ઈમેલ
પછી.
કરી દે. હા
ફોન કર મને પછી ફોન. So good morning all of you. We have been discussing dynamic programming, and the next topic is assembly line scheduling. Now this is basically a problem related to the manufacturing industry. See, in any manufacturing company you will find the assembly line. Thing on the beginning, so at this point of at this particular place, your chassis, let us say this is an example of a car or bike, that means a manufacturing in the auto manufacturing industry of a car enters, right? Chassis means a frame, and you have a number of stations. For example, this is station 1, station 2, station 3, like you have n number of stations, and at each station some assembly is going to happen. For example, at some point you will find that engine is being added, at other point you will find the other assembly, then electronics, then painting, and then etc etc. So at every station you will have some operation which is being performed on that particular object. So let us say if the car is an object, then frame enters here. At every station something will happen on it, and at the end you will find that your ready to run car will get manufactured over here at this point. Now what happens in most of the industry, instead of a single line you have multiple lines, right? So that is basically to increase the productivity and production. But because this is a manufacturing industry, what happens that there may be some problem at any particular station. Let us say for on this line, this station is not operating due to some reason, or it is in under maintenance or something like that. So what happens that they require to shift uh, this line, or they require to divert this line from this station to another line. Obviously when you divert something, it requires an additional time. So there, let us say this is the time which is required for that diversion, and then it goes ahead. So like this, any kind of a diversion takes place. The objective is that the total manufacturing time should be minimized. So basically this is an optimization problem which is related to the manufacturing industry, where we are to simplify the understanding, we assume that there are two lines only. So this is line 1 and line 2, assembly line 1 and assembly line 2. So we have a pair of assembly lines, each with n number of stations. So on every line you will find n number of stations. N can be any number. Now there are some parameters which can be formatted for this particular problem statement. What are those parameters? Capital S. Capital S stands for the station. Now because there are two lines and n number of station on each line, it can be represented by this Sij. That means it is jth station on assembly line I. So that means if I say S00, or let's say it's a station, so it starts with 1. So S11 means that it is the first station on line number 1. S12 means that second station on line 1, like this. S1K means kth station on line number 1. Similarly, S24 means that it is fourth station on line number 2. So Sij represents this station, Next is Aij. Now this is the time which is required for assembly at jth station on line number I. Obviously, this is, even though this station and this station performs the same thing, but time may be different due to the devices they use or due to the resources they have. Sometimes human resources are also affecting the assembly time. So basically time is different. And let's say we have, or let's denote that with Aij. Aij means that time required at station J on line number I. So here A12 indicates that time requires at station number 2 on line number 1. If you see A2n minus 1, it means that time required at station n minus 1 on line number 2. So Aij represents the time, assembly time. Then you have something called EI. EI means an enter time. Most of the time there is some time which is required to enter into the first station. So that can be represented by E. So E1 represents time to enter at line 1 and E2 represents time to enter at line 2. Then similarly you have XI. XI means exit time. So you have a time to exit from station N on line 1 and time to exit from station N on line 2, that is X1 and X2. And then finally you have Tij. Tij means the time to transfer from one station of one line to another next station of the another line. So for example, if you want to transfer from station 2 to station 3, but that station is on another line, so S12 to S23 or something like S22 to S13. So that's why you will find Tij, time to transfer away from station Sij to X means another line, and J plus 1. J plus means the next station. So that means if your I is equal to 1, then X is 2. If I is 2, then X is 1. Because always transfer takes place from one line to another line. So that's why you will find a different line number on for both the stations. So this is just the problem setup which we need to have, even though we want to solve this using any algorithm design technique. Now remember, this is an optimization problem, and what we want to optimize is the total time for assembly. So the problem statement goes like this: determine which stations to choose from line 1 and which station to choose from line 2 in order to minimize total assembly time. So this is my problem statement. I hope the problem is clear. Any doubt in this? Yes, any doubt till this point? Okay, so then next is the solution, right? Obviously, we want to optimize the time. Now, it's an optimization problem, and there is an optimal substructure property. Let us first understand what is the approach. Then we will go into the detail of it. So basically, I want to optimize the time at this point. Now, what are the ways to reach at this point? There are two ways. One is this, okay, and second is this. N and X, or S to N through X2. That means if I want to optimize this, or if I want to optimize the time at this point, which is my actually an objective function, then I have to choose minimum of these two. So let's say time at this is T1 and time at this is T2. So I will simply choose T1 plus X1 and T2 plus X2, minimum of these two, T1 plus X1 and T2 plus X2. Okay. Now how to compute T1? Again, go back. At this point, you are reaching via two ways. One is this arrow and second is this arrow, right? So let's say if this is my Tn, okay, that means time, total time at station n, or T1n, let's say, or I should not say T1n because T is already we are denoting for something else. So let's say this is my output, so O1 or O1n, right? So there are two ways to reach at this point. One is via this, or second is via this. So if this is O1n, then obviously this is O1n minus 1, and this is O1n minus, O2n minus 1. So that means if I want to reach at this point, I have to perform assembly at this station. So that requires some time. So O1 n minus 1 plus assembly at this station, it requires some time. So A1 n minus 1. So this is one way. And second is this. So O2 n minus 1 plus A2 n minus 1 plus the transfer time, right? T2 n minus 1. So whatever is the minimum of these two, that should be considered over here. Like this, you can go back, and then finally you can derive with the solution. So basically this can be done in top-down approach, but as we know that this is a dynamic programming, so we will go for the bottom-up approach. So let's try to understand from this endpoint. Okay, so what is bottom-up approach? You will start with the default values, right? 0, 1, whatever is the default value. So what happens if you are on, let's say your line number, let's say consider the line number 1. So first consider the optimal way for product to get from the starting point through station S1J. That means we want to start from here and we want to reach over here. So what is the optimum way? There is only one way. Okay, so there are no choices for this particular case. So if you want to start from this point and reach at station 1, there is only one way. Okay, so if j is equal to 1, then there is only one choice, right? That is straight away. This is the only choice. But if your j is equal to greater than 1, that means any station after station first, or sorry, station 1, that means this, any station, then you have two choices. Either you continue with the same line or you come from the other line. So there are two ways to reach at this station. That means continue from the same line or transfer from this line to this line via this particular transfer time. So for any value of j greater than 1, that means j is equal to 2, 3, 4 up to n, there are two choices. What are those choices? First choice is through station, through the same line, but from the previous station. So if I want to reach at station J, I will continue on the same line. So that means, let's say we are considering for line number 1. Okay. So S1 J minus 1 is my previous station. So you will stay on the line 1 through or from station J minus 1 to J. Or another way is you will transfer from the other line. So that means you are transferring from the other line. That means that is S2 and previous station. So that's why it's J minus 1. Okay. Now, once you have this, right? These two equations, I think these are important. Once you have these two equations, what are those equations? Let's understand first. So let's say our, I think this is already we have discussed. Now we are just putting it into the equation form. Okay, then we can understand. Or let's say first have a quick overview on this. Let's say these are the times which has been given. So 2 is enter time, then 7 is assembly time at station 1. This is the transfer time. Again, this 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, these all are transfer time. 2, 3, 1, 3, 4, these are the transfer time, and these are the assembly time, and this is exit time. So obviously if I want to reach at station 7, there is only one way. Okay, so what is the finish time at station 1? First is time to enter 2 plus assembly time at station 1. So 2 plus 7 is 9. Similarly, what is finish time at station 1 on second line? assembly time is 8 and enter time is 4. So 8 plus 4 is 12. Because this is the first station, we don't have any other choice. But let's consider for this station. Okay. Now you have two choices. Either you stay on the same line or you come from the other line. So if you stay on the same line, what is the previous time? Finish time at station 1, it was 9. Plus, what is the assembly time at station 2? It's 9. So what is the finish time at station 2? If you continue on the same line, it's 18. But if you are coming from the other line, then what is the finish time at this station? It is 12. What is the transfer time? It's 2. So 12 plus 2 is 14. And what is the assembly time? Is 9. That is 23. So one option is you go for 23, and second option is you 2 plus 7 plus 9, that is 18. Obviously 18 is less than 23, so you will consider the 18, right? It's a minimum. Again, if you want to compute the time or finish time at this station, you have two options. Either you continue on this, so that means 12 plus 5, that is 17. So one is 17. And second is you come from the other line. What is the other line? What is the previous time? It's 9. What is the transfer time? 2. So 9 plus 2 is 11. And what is the assembly time? Is 5. So 11 plus 5 is 16. So one option is 16. Another option is 12 plus 5, 17. Obviously, which one is minimum? 16. So what it indicates? It indicates that the optimal way to finish the product at this station is this. That is what being shown by a dark. These are the dark lines, right? If I want to find out the optimal way to finish the product at this station, then this should be the way. Similarly, using these two values, you will compute the values for the next two stations, then next, then next, then next. Finally, you go or you can compute this time. So that's why we say that it's a bottom-up approach. You start with nothing or minimum value, and then you keep on computing the next value using the previous values, right? So I hope the method of solving the problem is clear. We'll discuss more. It has optimal substructure property. Optimal substructure property means that whenever you want to solve a problem, okay, the solution or the optimal solution of this problem is there if you have the optimal solution of its sub problem. So if I want to reach at station N, or if I want to optimize the finish time at station N, then I require an optimum time at station N minus 1. So if I have this, then I can always compute this. So that's why it's similarly for every station you can consider this, and this is the way you can compute the solution. So that's the same thing written over here. To find the fastest way through station J, we solve the sub problems of finding the fastest way through station J minus 1. So if you have a solution to problem J minus 1, then you can easily compute the solution for J. And if you keep on doing this, ultimately you will start with, or you can, if you have a solution to finish time at station 1, then you can compute at station 2. So let's now focus on the equations which is required to be understood. It's nothing but the same thing which we have understood. So let's say Fij, we have look at this parameters. These are the input parameters. Now let's focus on the output parameters, or the way we are going to represent the output. So let's say F stands for the finish time. Fij means the finish time at station J on line number I. Okay. I think the proper word is fastest time. That will give you the more precise understanding of what this F means. So it is the fastest time to get a product from the starting point through station Sij. Ij means the station number, I means the line number. So Fij is the fastest time or finish time on station Sij. Our goal is to compute the star. F star indicates fastest time at last station plus exit time. So fastest time at this station plus exit time, or fastest time at this station plus exit time. So that can be represented by this equation. What it says, F star is equal to minimum of these two. What are these two components? This is fastest time on station 1, on which station? Nth station. So that's why it's F1N. This is F2N plus X1. X1 means the exit time on line 1, and X2 means the exit time on line 2. So that means the finish time at station N on line 1 plus exit time, and second value is finish time on last station on line 2 plus exit time on line 2. Whatever is the minimum of these two, this will be your output. So this is the first equation, and you can see that this is a recursive kind of an equation, right? If you consider this as again, if you rewrite this for n minus 1, you will do that actually. So because this is a recursive equation, you require a base condition. Now when you have a base condition, base means what? From which station you are starting? You are starting from the first station. So what is the finish time at first station? It is basically assembly time at first station plus enter time. So same thing. Fi1, 1 means the first station, I means the line number. So first station and line number 1. Similarly, you can have F11, F21. What is Fi1? Fi1 stands for enter time plus assembly time. So this is how you can put these two equations together for any line. Let's say it's for first assembly line. For station 1, finish time can be computed like F11 is equal to E1 plus A11. E1 means enter time and A11 means assembly time on station 1. And for every other station, what you have? F1J is equal to, either you stay on the same line. So F1 previous station J minus 1 plus assembly time at station J A1J. So F2, that means the second line, J minus 1 station plus T2 J minus 1 means the transfer time from J minus 1 to J plus time required at the assembly. So A1J will be same, finish time at previous station on same line, finish time on previous station on the other line, and because you are coming from the other line, you have some transfer time. So this is the equation for and as you can see, recursive equation is obviously we will go for the top down approach, which is very simple. But again, if you see we already discussed that the time complexity of this will be very higher in terms of exponential. So top down approach is recursive, and because it's a recursive, there will be lots of recalculation, and due to that, time complexity is something in around of 2 raised to n, which is an exponential time complexity, so which should not be used for the solving this problem. So that's why we go for the dynamic programming solution, which says that, or if you see that solution, you will find that it's far better than the down approach solution. So what and why we go for this? What is the principle of optimality? Says that if we have a solution at station J minus 1, then we can always compute the fastest time or the finish time at station J, right? So that can be straight away go to the algorithm now. This is the same thing which we have already discussed. A means assembly time. Because it's an assembly time for multiple array. First dimension indicates the line number and second dimension indicates the station number. So Aij means that assembly time at station J on line I. Similarly, you have transfer time. Again, transfer is also for every line. So it's again a two-dimensional array. Transit time from jth station on ith line to j+1 station on another line. You have an entry time. Because there are multiple lines, there may be different entry time for each line. So again, you have an array, but this is a single dimensional array because you don't have entry time for every station. You just have entry time for the line only. And because there are multiple lines, you have EI. EI represents the time to enter on line number I. Similarly, you have XI represents exit time, and N means number of station on every line. Remember, it's manufacturing, so each and every station will do this a single task, and that's why you have same number of station on every line. You will not have a different number of stations on different lines. So that's why N is constant for every line. So N is the number of stations for every line. First step is bottom-up approach. So compute the bottom value. What are the bottom values? Finish time at first station on both the line. Okay. So finish time on first station on line number 1. So F11. Again, F11 is finish time on every line. So again, it's a two-dimensional array, right? If you observe this, it's a two-dimensional array because you require a row for every line and column for every station, right? We will take an example to better understand this, but let us first understand the algorithm. So F11 means E1 plus A11. A1 means assembly time on first station. E1 means entry time. F11 means finish time on first station, first line. Similarly, you can have F21 entry time plus A21 assembly time on station 1, line 2. So this is our base condition. Now you can use these values F11 and F21 to compute the next values. So what we do, you have n number of stations. So that's why for every station starting from the second to n is your last station. So for j equal to 2 to n, what you have is two options, right? And we are interested in minimum of those two. What are those two options? First option is you stay on the same line. So if you see this equation or if condition, you have two components and whichever is the minimum, you are selecting that. So that's why basically this is a minimum function. What we are doing, F1 j minus 1. J minus 1 means the finish time on previous is less than this second component. F2 means line number 2. J minus 1 means previous station on line number 2 or finish time on previous station on line number 2 plus some transfer time and plus A1j. Okay. So if this is less than this, that means staying away on this or staying on the same line is beneficiary. So that's why what you will do, F1j will be calculated as F1j minus 1 plus A1j, this component. And we are maintaining one another output value to indicate that at every station, what was the previous station line number? So on station number J, previous station line number was, or the way to reach at station J, you have stayed on the same line. So that's why L1j is equal to 1. L is another two-dimensional array, which actually required for not to calculate the time, but to plan the route, because you require this L so that you can have an idea of a route as well, not just because a time is actually a number that will be a discrete number which will not give you any detail about the route on which you have traversed. So if you want to regenerate the route as well, then you require this another a value which is called a line parameter. So line parameter value is 1 because you have stayed on the same line. Otherwise means this is a smaller component. So else, whatever is the smaller component, that will be your finish time on jth station. And because you have came from the previous line or the other line, your L value will be 2. So this is 2, right? This we have done for first line only. That's why we have F1, or we are computing for F1J. Here also L1J, F1J, L1J. Same thing you have to do for the second line, right? So now you are doing it for second line. So F2J minus 1 plus A2J, if this is less than this, then you will compute or you will stay on the same line. Otherwise, you will change over. Once this loop is over, it means that you have a finish time on station N. So F1N you have also, you have M2, F2N. That means you have these values, finish time at this station and finish time at this station. Now we are interested in finish time at this station. So again, we have two ways to reach at this. Either you follow this path or this path. This path means finish time on this station plus exit time on this line, and finish time on this station plus exit time on this line. So same thing over here. Again, you are interested in minimum, so we are straight away writing in if condition. If f1n plus x1 is less than f2n plus x2, if this is smaller than what you are saying, f star is your output. It says that f star is equal to f1n plus x1, and L star means from which is the last station from which you have derived. So L star is the last station. So L star is 1. Similarly, you have else part of it. Okay. So at the end of this, you have two matrices. One is F and second is L. L indicates the route on which you have followed, and F indicates the time, finish time at every station. Additionally, you have F star as well. That is the final finished or the fastest time on the last station. What is the time complexity? If you see this, this is a simple assignment. This is also assignment. So step count is 1. Here also inside for loop you have if condition, condition 1 1 1 1 1, right? So that means you have one for loop, so big O of n. Again you have if condition 1 1 1 1 1 1. So that means basically this is an algorithm which runs in order of n. To be more precise, the time complexity is linear, right? So I think algorithm is clear. Any doubt till this point? Yes, any doubt? Okay. So let's just complete this evaluation. Okay. So what we have is we want to compute this entire thing, right? So we have 2 plus 7, so 9 over here. Here also it's 12. For computing this is 9 plus 9, so 18, and this is 12 plus 2 4, 14 plus 9, so 23. So 18 and 23, so you will have 18 over here. To compute this, you have 4 plus 8, 12 plus 5, 17. And another option is 9 plus 2, 11 plus 5, 16. So 17 and 16. So that's why we have 16. Okay. To compute at this, you stay on the same line. So that's why you have 18. Remember, when I say that you stay on the same line, you should not just compute this. Okay. You have to look at this table. And the time at previous or time at previous station is 16. So 16 plus 1, 17 plus 3, 20. Right? So here it will be better if you come from the other line. So one value is 20 and second is 21. So you will put 20 over here. And because you are coming from the previous line, you will write line number 2 over here instead of 1. That indicates that you are coming at this station from line number 2. Okay. Next, if I want to compute at this point, that means I want to compute this value. So you have two options. First is 16 plus 6. So that's 22. And second is 18 plus 3, 21 plus 6, 27. So 27 and 22. So that's why you have 22. Line number is 2 because you have come from the previous line. Sorry, same line. Similarly, you can compute for next station. This is station number 4. So you have to look at these values. Station number 4, same line is 20 plus 4. So 24 is one value. And station number 3, that is 22 plus transfer time 2. 22 plus 2, 24 plus 4, 28. Obviously 24 is less than 28. So you will stay on the same line. And that's why you write line number 1. Right? So this is how you can compute a value till two values. You have the finish time, that is f star. So at this station you have 35, at this station you have 37. So 35 plus 3, that is 38, and 37 plus 2, that is 39. So 38 is minimum, that's why you write 38. And because you have considered L star is also 1. So this is the assembly line scheduling problem which we have discussed using dynamic programming. From the observation of the question paper, it is observed that most of the time this is asked for the theoretical explanation, except one time. Okay, there was a case in some of the question paper in which you have been asked to, or you have been given these values and you have been asked to compute these values. So but majority of time this is mainly asked for theoretical explanation and not the evaluation. So I hope it's clear. Okay, so with this I think I will complete or conclude the today's session. I want to discuss something more on the midsem as well. So I'm first let me show you the question paper.